Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 8, Chapter 18. Name the never-failing fountain. Ascetic practices, years of constant recitation of the name, pilgrimages to the holy places and shrines, study of sacred books, these will not help the aspirant to spiritual victory as much as communion with the godly and the good. Bharat is a rare treasure house of spiritual jewels. It can confer all boons on sincere seekers. This conference of seekers is indeed a great opportunity, and for the people of Bombay, this is a great piece of good fortune. Having thus spoken a few words as befits this glorious occasion in Sanskrit, the parent and core of all languages, I shall continue my discourse in Telugu, and it will be translated into English by Kasturi. These sentences were spoken by Baba in Sanskrit. Bharat is the birthplace of the Vedas and of the Shastras, the epics and Puranas that have elaborated the principles enunciated therein for the education of the common man. It is the nursery of music and other fine arts, inspired by the noble passion of consecrating human skills for adoring the divine and communicating the supersensuous. It is the staff and sustenance of the mystic and the ascetic, the intellectual and the dynamic adorer of God. It is the field where the science of yoga was cultivated and systematized. No wonder, therefore, that this land, India, has survived through the ages as the land of yoga, self-control, and tyaga, detachment. One divine principle circulates through all lands. Though these traits of Indian culture may be eclipsed for some time by the forces of secular cultures, civilizations catering to material comfort, storms of doubt and disbelief that sweep through the corridors of time, they cannot be totally uprooted from the hearts of men. The duty of Indians is to foster these traits and sow among human communities the seeds of love, so that they may grow and fill the world with the fragrant blooms of tolerance and reverence. No man can live away apart from the rest of his kind. No country can play its role alone and unrelated to the others on the world stage. Other nations influence the destiny of India. India too has its impact on others. One bloodstream circulates through all the limbs. One divine principle circles through all the lands and peoples. The universe is the body of God. He knows and feels every twitch, every pang, be it from a black man or white, from land or sea, or air or space. Morarji Desai uttered the word dharma often during his speech now. If the leaders of India have dharma installed in their hearts, they can elevate all their activities in accordance with the high claims dharma makes on conduct and condition. Dharma will compel integration of thought, word, and deed. It will cleanse the mind and rid it of greed and hate. This is a gathering of representatives of all faiths. And so here you can testify that every faith is but an endeavor to cleanse the impulses and emotions, as part of the process of discovering the truth of the world, seen and unseen. No one who has trodden that path and engaged himself in that process has escaped calumny and cruelty. Tracks leading to one summit are many. Muhammad, who sought to establish the primacy of the one formless absolute, had a large share of persecution, defamation, and privation. Jesus, who attempted to rebuild mankind on the basis of love, was crucified by little men who feared that their tiny towers of hate and greed will be toppled by his teaching. Harishchandra, who had resolved never to waver from truth, was subjected to ordeal after ordeal, each more terrifying than the previous one. Those who seek to know God must steel themselves to bear insult, injury, and torture with a smile. The search is for the same treasure. The summit is one. The tracks leading to it are many. The guides are also many. They clamor and compete among themselves. 7 blind men examined the elephant and imagined that it was what each one was able to touch. Each one interpreted his touch. They could not get a complete and correct picture of the animal. Hinduism is the stomach of the elephant, supplying strength and stamina to all other faiths. But one has to admit that the stomach is not all. The limbs are the other faiths. Even those who assert that they did not find any trace of God in outer space, or those who aver that God is dead, or that even if he is alive, he is no longer necessary for man, that he is a handicap and nuisance. All these have to admit that there is something inexplicable, something inscrutable, beyond the reach of reason and science. Some unknown which pervades the world and affects the course of things. Basis of the ancient science of astrology. The intuitive vision of the highly sensitive inner eye of the Indian yogis was able to discover many secrets of the universe and to peep into the past or the future as far as they desired. It is now more than 20 years after the British left India to itself. This was predicted 5,043 years ago by an Indian yogi who declared that India will free itself from the rule of a strange race from the far west. In the year Nanda, India achieved independence from Western rule in the year Nanda. How could this be discovered and declared 5,043 years ago? The Bihar earthquake was accurately foretold 2 years previously by the astrologers of Varanasi. On what basis does the ancient Shastra, science, of astrology rest? Its basis is not as scientific as the modern scientists demand. It is based on intuitive spiritual experience. Charles Webster Leadbeater has declared that the correct recital of the Gayatri Mantra with the orthodox Uttatta, Anuttatta and Swarita modulation of the voice and the higher, lower and even accents can produce experienceable and authentic illumination, whereas incorrect pronunciation and wrong accents result in thickening the darkness. Therefore, instead of scoffing at the disciplines of recitals, meditations, prayers, formulary worship, and mantra utterances, their values have to be accepted and their results tested and confirmed by practice and exercise. The greatest formula that can liberate, cleanse, and elevate the mind is Ramanama, the name of Rama. Rama is not to be identified with the hero of the Ramayana, the divine offspring of the Emperor Dasharatha. He was named Rama by the court preceptor because it was a name which was already current. Vashishta, the preceptor, said that he had chosen that name since it meant he who pleases. While everyone else pleases the self, nothing pleases the caged, individualized self more than the free, universal self. The self is therefore referred to as Atma Rama, the self that confers unending joy. Rama, the priceless key to salvation. There is a story in the classics to illustrate the worth of the name Rama. Sage Prachetas once composed a text with verses numbering 100 crores. The three worlds competed among themselves to take the entire text. The struggle assumed calamitous proportions. And so God brought them together and persuaded them to accept a third each, that is to say, each world, heaven, earth, and the underworld, received 33 crores, 33 lakhs, 33,333 verses each. One verse remained undivided. It has 32 syllables in all. So when it was allotted among the three co-sharers, at the rate of 10 syllables each, 2 syllables were left over. How could 2 syllables be divided among 3? God decided that they be adored and revered by all 3 worlds equally. The syllables were Ra and Ma, making up the priceless key to salvation, Rama. Rama is the bee that sucks the honey of devotion from the lotus of the heart. The bee loosens the petals of the flower it sits upon, but Rama adds to its beauty and fragrance. He is like the sun, which draws the water to itself by its rays, and accumulating it as cloud, sends it back as rain to quench the thirst of earth. Rama is the mystic, potent sound. He is born in the navel, and it rises up to the tongue and dances gladly thereon. The Vedic declaration, Tattvamasi, that thou art, is enshrined in the word Rama, which consists of 3 sounds, R, A, and Ma. Of these, Ra is the symbol of Tat, that, Brahman, God. Ma is the symbol of Tvam, thou, Jivi, individual. And A, that connects the two, is the symbol of the identity of the two. No particular name is higher than the rest. The word Rama has also a numerological significance. Ra counts as 2, A counts as 0, and Ma counts as 5, so that Rama adds up to 7, which is an auspicious number. We have the 7 swaras of music, the 7 heavenly sages, and reciting Rama for 7 days continuously is considered especially fruitful. However, since this conference will discuss this great spiritual exercise of Namasmarana, let me tell you that no particular names can be raised to a status higher than the rest, for all names are His, and He answers to all. I propose to dilate on this point tomorrow at the sessions of the conference, for it is a beneficent discipline not only for this country, but for all the countries of the world. I shall conclude with the expression of my satisfaction that the conference is being held in the campus of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Surely no better place can be found in Bombay than this, for a conference that attempts to carry the message of Bharatiya Vidya to all mankind. Inauguration, World Conference of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Campus, Bombay, May 16th, 1968.